Working mom, she's on the go. How does she do it? We all wanna know. Laughs and good stories, lessons and fun. How does she do it all? So sit right down, you're in for a treat. A show full of heart that cannot be beat. Grab your coffee, stay for a while. How does she do it all? With Olivia Howard.
Welcome to How Does She Do It All, the show where we shine a spotlight on fabulous single and solo moms and ask the age-old question, how does she do it all? So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and get ready for some real talk about motherhood and making it all work. And now, folks, let's welcome today's guest star, Scarlett Longstreet. So, Scarlett, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, first, thanks so much for having me. A little bit about myself. So I am a single mom of 3 little girls. I have twins that are 6, and then I have an older daughter that's 9. I live in Detroit. I am coming up on 1 year of officially being divorced.
Yay.
And I live in Detroit, and I'm a content creator and a writer.
Beautiful writer. Yeah. So, Scarlett, tell us, how did you get into becoming a single mom? What was the journey like there?
I think I had probably a pretty traditional path to becoming a single mom. I think that many of us think about divorce for a long, long time before we do it. And I was definitely one of those people who perseverated on it for many years. So I always like to kind of combat the assumption that oh, you made this decision flippantly, or
Yeah.
that's just not true. Nobody gets divorced on a whim, especially when you have children. And for me, I was a stay-at-home mom. So that's not just something that you are like pulling the trigger on without a lot of consideration. So, it other than that, it was pretty traditional. I thought about it for many years. Eventually, my children were school age. That was really the first time where I could even consider being a single mom. And then I asked for a separation, and we cohabitated for 14 months. And then we finalized our divorce.
Yeah. So you have 3 very beautiful, busy little girls. And now you have a career that you've developed since becoming a divorcee and having to make your own money. And you had a career beforehand, too. What is a typical day in the life like for Scarlett and her 3 ladies over there?
So because I was a stay-at-home mom, and I wonder if other stay-at-home moms experience this. My girls are used to having access to me 100% of the time. And they have still not adapted because I now am a work at home mom. They don't understand that at all, really. They're used to having me. And because my work is very different from their father, who goes somewhere, and that's like, oh, daddy's going to work. They do not, unfortunately, they don't respect my work. They don't respect my time. They really have no concept of what it means for me to say, I have to do work. And foolishly, and it's not even age appropriate, I will say, hey, if you don't let me do work right now, we don't have
I do the same thing, Scarlett.
we don't have this house,
Yeah. Yeah.
food,
Yep.
the Netflix that you're streaming right now.
Yep.
So a typical day is like during spring break, right, where I have them home and I still have to work, is me battling all day long,
Yeah.
trying to convince them that I have to work and we have to take this seriously.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky that I do work from home, though. I don't want to take that for granted, and I have a lot of flexibility, so I can still be there for them too, in a lot of ways that someone working a more traditional gig cannot.
Yeah, but it gets frustrating, especially because you're a creative writer, also, and creative person. And I very much understand my boys are the same way. I mean, it's like, I need a Capri Sun. I need a donut. I need this. And I'm like, I'm literally responding to a client right now. The push and pull of wanting to be creative and write and get your heart out, and then knowing you're going to have to hop up every 3 seconds. Like, do you have any, what do you do about that? Like, do you write at night? Do you write in the morning? Like, how do you find time?
So And people tell me all the time, people have advice and they're like, you need to have boundaries with your kids. And it's like, okay, good luck. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. My oldest is almost 10. We've been doing this for a decade. Yeah, sure. We could break patterns, but I'm stressed now because it's all on me. So I don't really have time to like break these
Yeah.
bad patterns of behavior that are deeply ingrained in my family system at this point. So I do a bad thing and I cram a lot of my life and work into my time away from my kids. I absolutely recognize that as a single mom, I'm very lucky that I have a co-parent and we have a 60-40 custody split. I'm 60, he's 40. And I understand that that's not time that a lot of mothers get. But that's just my situation. And that's what I do is I do almost all of my work in the time that I'm away from my kids, or of course, when they're at school. But when I cannot be creative with my children.
Yeah.
I can't tap into it. You can't get into a flow with kids,
Mm-mm.
right? Um, and so that's the push and pull of it. And so I don't know, they say like work-life balance. I don't know if that's work-life balance, right? I put all of my life into, or my work into one part and I compartmentalize. So that's my system.
Yeah, it's hard. I really, really understand. It's like you physically, literally cannot get certain aspects of your work done when you are dealing with kids or when there's kids anywhere in the vicinity for me. Um, okay, so you're doing all the work, you're doing all the parenting. When do you find time for you? What do you do for yourself?
I When do I find time for myself? So this about me is I walk every day.
Mm-hmm.
So every day that my kids are in school, because that is my childcare. So while I do have a co-parent, I have no other support. We
Right.
don't have extended family. I don't have like a nanny or a reliable sitter or anything like that. So it is just me and my ex-husband. And on the days when my kids are in school and I have custody, I walk every day. And that is basically my lifeline. It's my exercise. And I do get a lot of mental clarity and creative work done during that hour-long walk. So that's what I do for myself. And, I love to go to live music. So I'll do
Mm-hmm.
that too on my weekends off and things like that.
I love that. So what have been some of the unexpected pleasures and joys of being the single mom of 3 girls?
Um, I mean, so you, we're not supposed to say it that we enjoy our time away from our kids, right? And it's both. Am I heartbroken when my kids are away from me? Yes, of course. There is something about it that I'm sure will always feel unnatural. It does when I wake up in the mornings, my first morning without them. And yeah, it is sad. But I also, for many women who carry the entire mental load, who do
Yep.
all of the parenting, the single married woman, it is the only way that many women ever experience
Yeah.
any sort of space or time. So yeah, it can be life-giving. Unfortunately, it's really sad that we have to be divorced and be single moms to get some of that time back and some of that autonomy and agency over our lives. But yeah, so I enjoy getting to see who I am when I'm not a mom, even though I'm always a mom, of course, because the mental load never stops, whether you're with your kids or you're not.
Mhm. I get so many women that come to me and they're like, I don't want to get divorced because I'm devastated at the idea, right, of not spending time. I always say the same thing. It's better to have 100% of you 50% of the time than 50% of you 100% of the time. Because your kids notice, right? They see the difference in you. And you come back, I'm sure, a better quote unquote mom because you're refreshed. You had time to watch your shows, eat your food, do your work, and you can come at them and be present, which is really hard to do when you're constantly with your kids all the time. Yeah.
And our kids don't want to be burdened with I stayed together with the kids, right? Like they don't. Right
Um,
now, they conceptually don't understand what that means. But in 15 and 20 years, no one's going to say thank you for suffering.
no. That's
It's likely going to trickle down into their experience of your marriage. And also, like, I always tell women, yeah, like, nobody is gonna say thank you for suffering.
I love
Wait,
that. No, they're not. They're not. And I like to remind people, if you have a co-parent that is a capable, great dad or mom or whatever, that's wonderful. Like, your kids need to be with them. Like, that's a relationship that they should be cultivating, and like use that so that you can have the time that you need. That's a great asset to have. Like, not everybody has that, like you said. And I think that that's wonderful. So, um, what do you wish people knew? Like, take this platform, and what do you wish people knew about being a single parent that is a misconception that you hear a lot?
a misconception that I hear, well, there's so many.
I mean, I think you said it before really well too, with like people think it's like a flippant decision that.
Right. That it takes, yeah, so much planning and so much emotional turmoil, and always, like, to be a human and to get through life with, like, I think any happiness and joy is to accept that two things can be true, right? Like, good luck getting through life if you can't carry two truths at the same
Uh-huh.
two
Uh-huh.
opposing beliefs at the same time. So, yeah, like, divorce is really hard, but sometimes it's necessary. Being away from your kids. People ask me all the time, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I want to get a divorce, but I cannot accept being away from my kids. And I always say, like, well, I guess then that you're making that choice, then you're gonna be married forever. I at this point, I don't know how to be gentle anymore, because
Uh-huh.
the truth is that it will it might always be very, very hard to be away from your children. It is
Yeah.
very, very hard to be away from my children. It was harder to be in my marriage and with my children physically, but not emotionally present. They weren't getting the best of me. So, I think at a certain point, you just get to that breaking point, and yeah.
Yeah. And at what point do you sacrifice your complete self, right? Like, okay.
Because your kids, that's what I always your kids are not going to recognize that sacrifice. They aren't. Children are not built that way. So you can sacrifice your entire happiness and
Yeah.
identity for them, and you can actually saddle them with that, which isn't fair. And they're gonna turn 18, they're gonna be adults, and they're not gonna say, "Thank you for doing that." They're gonna say, "Why did you do that?"
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. So what advice would you give, and what advice do you give to people who are contemplating single motherhood?
Um, okay, so I know my biggest thing is I have had to figure out money is always tight for single moms, right?
Uh-huh.
Usually.
Yep.
And I have had to be really careful about thinking about the money that I spend that makes my life easier. And one of the things, this is gonna sound crazy, one of the things that for me just makes sense is I pay for grocery delivery, because you have to figure out what you hate, what
Same.
is the time suck, and what is worth an investment. For me, that's it, right? So, like, even the act of, like, going to the grocery store, which can be an hour to an hour and a half. So anyways, you have to figure out what you wanna outsource and pay for. That is one of the things that just, weirdly enough, brings me a lot of peace and efficiency to my life. So
100%. 100%. But also, you'd probably save money too, let's be honest, because you're not
absolutely.
throwing. Yeah.
I do. So I would say, like, whether that is getting even just a quarterly deep clean on your house,
Mm-hmm.
or so not even a lot of people, like, who have the means, do it every other week. I can't do it every week, right?
Yeah.
But even doing it once a quarter or every 6 months, having someone come in and deep clean and taking those things off your plate. As a single mom, you adapt and you learn to do everything on your own, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the lawn care and things like that. Um, but figuring out what is, like, right, the one or two things that you can
Yeah.
invest in that mentally just make your life a lot less heavy.
This reminds me of a conversation I had years ago about single moms, and it goes back to the flippant decision thing too. I think a lot of people see single moms as that we should be suffering, right? Like there should be a suffer situation there. And we deserve the nice things too. Right. And so I remember years ago I did a gift guide for our website for Mother's Day, and it was like nice gifts, whatever. And then this big influencer retweeted me, and she was a single mom, and she was like, "This is ridiculous. Like, just take the kids out for the day. Like, that's all the mom wants." And I was like, "No, no, no, no. Single moms deserve gifts too. Like, we deserve a luxurious life, however we want to have it, right? So, like, I do the grocery delivery too, Target delivery, like, because I work from home too, right? I'm not going to run out during the day, and I will not take 2 kids after school or on the weekend to the grocery store. I'm not doing it." So, I
I
love that.
You can't. You
No,
can't do it all.
no.
And so that is you have to figure out how you can build efficiencies into your life. And so that is like a weird one that I swear by, that grocery delivery absolutely like is worth it for me.
Yeah.
Um
I've been doing that for years. I did that since my son was born years and years ago. I mean, I've been working from home since he was born, but it's the best. And again, saves money because you're looking to see what you actually need. You're not throwing stuff in the cart. And I have kids, and I think your kids are like this too. Every time we go out, they think that they need a treat. And so it's like $100 every single Saturday afternoon for nothing. So well, all of this is great, and you're so brilliant and wise, and your writing is so beautiful. So where can people find all of the beautiful work that you do?
you can I would say the main point of contact is going to be Instagram. My handle is just my name at Scarlett Longstreet. And then from there, you could get to my Substack and my links, or you could just find me on Substack. If you search Scarlett Longstreet, it'll come right up.
And I would say pay to access her content because it is beautiful writing, and you really are so honest and authentic when it comes to all this stuff. And we've had you on almost every podcast, I think now. And every time I talk to you, it's an awesome conversation. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Olivia. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of How Does She Do It All? If you loved this conversation, be sure to check out freshstartsregistry.com to learn more. Our theme music is provided by Matthew Searing, with additional vocals by Jackie, Cheryl, and Jackson Searing. And remember, you are doing an amazing job. Keep showing up, keep embracing the journey, and we'll see you next time.